Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at some advanced and weird and wonderful ways of bending strings to make your playing far more interesting. Okay, this first technique is called Unison bends. As the name implies, it involves playing more than one note but bending one of them. So for example, if I play 7 on the G string and bend it, while simultaneously holding a 5 on the B string, I get this effect. Notice I'm not moving my first finger, I'm not bending it, I'm only bending this 7th fret. To give me some extra strength, I'm using 2 fingers, my 2nd and 3rd, and then my index finger plays the B string. 2 ways of doing this. You can either bend this string here so that it reaches the same pitch as this E here, so they kind of blend into each other. Or you can actually bend ever so slightly flat and get a slightly dirtier sound where it's not quite in tune. Now be careful if you have a trem like mine here, because if I was playing a Les Paul, this wouldn't really matter too much. I could bend the strings and this B string would stay in tune. Watch what happens though when you have a trem. When you bend the string up, the trem slightly pulls forward and puts your B string out of tune. Let me show you. Here's the B string. Watch what happens if I bend the string while that's happening. The note goes ever so slightly flat, so what I can do is I can just rest my hand on the bridge ever so lightly just to stop it pulling forward as I do my bend, and then I get this. Less of a change, and then when I do my unison bend it sounds a bit more in tune. It's very common with unison bends to bend the note up to the same pitch as the other one. So if you were doing this on the B string and the E string, you would say bend the 8th fret and you'd bend up to the pitch of 5, so you'd get this kind of thing. Here's a really common country bend using a unison bend. So we can play, say, the 7th fret again, but this time we're going to play pinky on the 8th fret. Or I can play 2 8s here. Or I can play the notes separately. Here's another country unison bend. I'm going to play, say, the 12th fret on the A and the D string like this, and I'm going to play the 9 on the G, but I'm going to bend the 9 up a tone to 11. Okay, so these two stay still, my first finger bends. It's quite difficult, it requires quite a bit of strength to really get that whole tone bend. I'm sitting on the trem again so that it doesn't move forward and put that note out of tune, which would mean I'd have to bend it even further, which I can't do. The next technique is a 1.5 tone bend. We're very used to doing a semitone bend, or half a tone bend, or a whole tone bend. Okay, by the way, those two things are 7 bends up to the pitch of 8. We don't play the 8, but we bend to the pitch of it. And a whole tone bend would be 7 bending up to the pitch of 9. So a 1.5 would be bending 7 to the pitch of 10. Now that alone is okay, but what we can do to make this more adventurous, we can bend up a tone and then bend a bit further to the 1.5 tone. So we get. Or up a tone, up a bit more, back a semitone, and back a whole tone. The hardest part of that is the return. People tend to return too far and get this, and it sounds out of tune. So we want up a tone, up another semitone, back a little bit, and back. This next technique is a chromatic bend, where you take a note and you bend it up a fret and then another fret and then back, which is really good for your ear training, so you get this kind of thing. If you're feeling really brave, you can do another fret, so. The next technique is repicking a held bend. So I can take a bend, repick it, and release it as I'm repicking. For For example, in Hotel California, there's a part on the 12th fret where the solo goes. The next bend is a kind of country bend where you do this. What I did there was I took the 7 on the B string, went up a tone, played pinky on the 7th fret of the top E. My bend is still held. I repick the bend on the B string. Then I played first finger on the 5th fret of the top E. Hit my bend again, release, and then maybe play one more note. 5 on the B string. So I've got. Next one is one of my favourites. It's where you bend, slide, slide. It's a good way of actually moving between pentatonic patterns. I could be playing pattern 5 of the minor pentatonic scale, and then maybe bend this note up and then move over to pattern 1. So we can also do bends while we're tapping, for example. So now I just played a pentatonic-ism here. Tapped the 12th fret, bent the string, let go of the, pulled off the tap, release the bend. Okay, so I'll do that again. Play a note, say 7, tap the 12th fret, bend. I'm bending my left hand, by the way, not my right. And then I pull off and release the bend, like that. You can do this in any order. You can actually do the bend first, then tap, release, drop, or bend, tap, hold, and then pull the tap off. Any combination of those things. Or slide and bend. So in the next video we'll look at something even crazier called catch bends, where we do 2 or more notes bent at the same time. Sometimes different directions. So if you liked that video, if it was useful to you, please click like and subscribe. You'd be helping me massively. Thanks again, I'll see you next time.